Hey, I'm Ad from Test Tube Marketing, and today I'm going to be sharing with you a live case study of one of our clients that we're working with. And when I say live, I mean that it's a launch that we are in the middle of right now. And this is a launch that is projected to do 5 figures. The target for the launch is £20,000-ish in terms of sales. And the reason that we want to do this is because a lot of the things that you see online are these massive 6-7 figure launches which sound amazing, and you think, great, I can make an absolute ton of money, these must be easy for me to do. But what they don't tell you is what's required to actually get results of that size. And because I've been involved in many of them, I actually know exactly what's required. And the things that you need to achieve those sorts of results are either a huge email list or massive amount of exposure on social media, which has taken years and years to build up, and most importantly, a massive budget to spend on advertising. A lot of these launches that you see that are doing mega money cost 20, 30, 40, 50 and higher thousands of pounds in ad spend or commissions to affiliate partners and all that sort of stuff. And so the big driver for us to share something like we are today is because that sort of stuff, while it sounds really good, isn't the reality of the situation for a lot of people. Most of our clients don't have 20, 30, 40,000 pound budgets for one single campaign. And so we have to do things very, very differently to get the kind of results that they're looking for. And so that's what we're going to be delving into today with you. So for this launch that we're working with, we're actually talking about a client called Thrive, who are specialists in helping clinic owners, physios, massage therapists, osteopaths, helping them grow their clinics. So that's what their business does. And they've got 3 different programs that they sell that allow them to help businesses or clinic owners of different sizes to grow and scale their clinic to the size and the function that they're looking to achieve. And the person that leads this business, Katie Bell, she's one of the rare people actually in this kind of industry that is not only just teaching what it is and what it takes to grow a successful clinic, she's also running her own very successful clinic. So what she teaches is certainly not, here's what I did a few years ago to grow my clinic. It's like, here's what I'm doing right now. She has a separate business, which is her clinic, which does multiple 6 figures. And her other business, her passion project, if you like now, is helping these other clinic owners to be able to grow their clinics using some of the stuff that she's doing herself. So they've got 3 distinct products and packages. They're actually programs that they use for clinic owners. And what they realized not long ago, although I think they did the right thing, they knew that they weren't serving a certain part of the market. So their programs start at people that are already established, already got a clinic, already making excess of £5,000 a month in their clinic, all the way up to multiple 6 figures, different programs for each of those. And they wanted to create a program to help those people that are really early on in their stage of business growth. Their business was, or their clinic is established, but only for a year or so, and they're currently really struggling to get consistent bookings and be generating consistent revenue. And so that's when we spoke to them about how we could possibly help. We'd worked with them previously on a launch that we did last year for an event that they ran, which we happily, or I'm proud to say and happy to say that we managed to sell out for them. And so they reapproached us and going, look, we've got this program that we want to sell. We've never sold it before. It's to a segment of the audience that we've kind of not forgotten about, but we've never really had a service for them. How could you help us generate some sales so that we can serve that lower end of the market and get them some results? And so that's a little bit painting the picture, if you like, of what it is that we're doing and who we're doing it for. And what I'd like to do is just delve into how we actually approached this as a project. So first and foremost, when we had the conversation initially, it was like, okay, cool, sounds like a great idea. What results are you expecting to achieve? What is it that you're looking to get? And what was clear was like, we would be really happy if we could launch this program and get 20 people enrolled onto it. Like, we're not talking about hundreds of people here or thousands or whatever it may be. We just want to get 20 people into this new program that we're creating to prove concept, and we can go from there. And so once we did a little bit of digging, did a bit of discovery, we felt that, yes, that's definitely something that we can help get the result on. And yeah, now I'm going to show you exactly how we approached it. My hope in sharing this with you is that you've got a similar kind of, not necessarily a similar product or services, but a similar situation where you'd like to make some sales of a program or a product. And hopefully what I'm going to share is going to help give you an idea of how you could approach your marketing to get the result that you're looking to achieve. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to walk you through the process, and we're going to start off by what I call mapping out the campaign. So just grab a pen. So this here is my, what I call the marketing map. So it's very easy. Fish takes the piss out of me because I say that I invented this, and it is indeed just a line. So I think I invented the line. So what we do here is we go, great. So what is it that we're looking to achieve? First and foremost, let's start at the end and let's get clear on what the outcome is. Now, we've already discussed that it was very clear we want to make 20 sales of the new program, which, by the way, is called Evolve. Okay, so we start at the end here, and then we need to look at, okay, so if that's that end point, how are we going to get there? So the way that I like to do this is to actually work backwards to be able to find out exactly what it is that we're going to be doing. So if someone's going to buy Evolve, how does that transaction happen? So for me, for this transaction to happen, they would have been on the sales page, or actually not the sales page, the order form. So they have the order form here. In order for them to be on the order form, they must have first been on the sales page. For them to have actually seen the sales page, they need to, in this example, in this campaign, they actually needed to be on primarily the waitlist. This is a waitlist campaign that we're doing. I'll explain the reasons why for that. In order for them to be on the waitlist, we are utilizing really just one main traffic source. With Thrive, they didn't have a budget to be spending money on paid advertising. So we were doing everything through their email list, a little bit of awareness stuff on social media, but the main bulk of this has been through their email list. And so the gap here, you've got your start point here. This pen's running out a little bit. The gap here between the start point and the wait list is all basically email. And so this is the campaign. As I said, this looks pretty simple, doesn't mean that it's easy to execute. So we've got clear, distinct phases here. We're going, right, in order for us to get our 20 sales, we're going to put all of our efforts into first building up the wait list, get as many people on the wait list as possible. Then from the wait list, we're going to drive them through to the sales page. And from the sales page, they'll click on the order form and then they'll buy. Now, the reason that we're doing it this way that I want to explain to you is that the Thrive have an email list of about 4,500 people. As I previously said, they predominantly serve the health industry, physios, osteos, massage therapists, that sort of thing, clinic owners like that. And all up until now, all of their programs have been for people of a certain level. And so most of the email list is people that have got reasonably established clinics that are doing in excess of £5,000 a month. But remember, this particular product is for the lower end of that market, and so there's a lot of the email list that actually this isn't relevant for. And so one of the main reasons for us to use the waitlist strategy is so that we can identify the people that are in that segment. So what we do is we run an email campaign, and I'm going to show you some of what it looks like in a minute. You run an email campaign to the whole list, to the whole audience, and say, hey, we've got this thing, but it's only for this select group of people. If you're interested, stick your hand in the air and join the wait list. And then when tickets go on sale, we'll let you know about it. So what you're actually doing is you're taking the big list of people that you've got here, your big audience, your big database. And I say big, I'm talking about your full one. It doesn't have to be thousands, doesn't have to be hundreds even. But what you're doing is you're taking the full audience, and you're just getting a small section of them just to put their hand in the air and say, yeah, this sounds like something I'd be interested in. Because then what that allows you to do is then it allows you to market pretty heavily at these people, because they've essentially given you permission to do so. Also, what we do with the big audience is we go, hey, we're going to promote this thing, and I'll show you the emails in a minute. We've got this thing to promote. If this isn't for you, just simply tap this button and you won't hear from us again. And what that does is it's called a soft opt-out. So you've probably been on other people's marketing databases where you get hammered with emails all the time. And eventually you might just hit unsubscribe. If you unsubscribe, if people unsubscribe from here, they're not going to see any of the communications at all for any of the programs. So we give people an option to just go softly. If you don't want to hear about this, hit this button and you won't hear anything about this campaign again, but they remain on the database so that you can still market your other products and services, and of course deliver great content and value to them and stay in their focus. And so that's why we're doing this waitlist strategy. For reason number one is so we can get that segment of the people that could be interested in this product or service. Two, so that then you've got permission to kind of market a bit harder to them. And three, you can then do a proper launch sequence with them and utilize some scarcity and urgency to get people to take action fast. So that's the campaign. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a couple of things on my laptop, so you can have a look at how we've actually structured some of this stuff together, so we can fill in some of the gaps here. What do the emails look like? What's the sales page like? How did we approach that from a messaging perspective? So yeah, come over with me and we'll jump on the laptop. So here we are, and now I'm going to share with you a bit more of the nuts and bolts around the campaign that we ran. So before we dive into any of the emails, the copy, the pages, or anything like that, the first thing that we have to get right, and we had to do a lot of work on, is just really understanding who it is that we're going to be speaking to. We need to understand that so that we can create copy that's going to compel people to take action. We want to get their attention. We want them to gauge their interest and then build up that desire, and then finally actually pull the trigger and take some action. And we can't do any of that if we're too broad and generic and we don't really understand who it is that we're speaking to. So I'm not going to delve into that right now because that takes a couple of hours by itself. And the way which we approach that is just by asking tons and tons of questions. Really what we're looking to establish from that main conversation is, who is it that we're speaking to? What kind of pains or problems is it that they're experiencing? What are the ramifications of those problems, both from a logical perspective in terms of maybe finances or overworked, not enough hours in the day, to the emotional side of things? What's the impact that has on the person? And then we want to really get clear on what it is that they actually want, so we can understand their pains, their frustrations, the thoughts and feelings that they're having. And then we really want to align with what it is that they want, what success looks like for them. And then when we've got all that information, we can then go to work on creating the content and the copy so that we can get people to really engage with everything that we're doing, from the emails all the way to the pages and everything in between. So once we've gone through that process and we've really established who it is that we're speaking to, then what we need to do is then get that into some words. So what I'm going to show you now is the waitlist page that we created. So if you remember, we've got this this list of database of 4,500 people. Just checking here, they get an average open rate of around 30% on their emails, which actually nets out at about 1,350 people that read their emails. So already the 4,500 has shrunk somewhat. And then of those 1,350 emails, we already know that a large proportion of those, we don't know exactly how many, but we do know that a significant proportion of those have been on the Thrive email list because they're already reasonably established clinic owners that are doing more than, say, £5,000 a month, all the way up to multiple six figures. And so the 4,500 has gone down to 1,350, and then we're looking at a smaller segment of that. So we're not talking about big numbers here, which is why it's so important that we get the messaging right and that we can get those people to just put their hand in the air just to say that they're interested. So if we have a little look at the waitlist page here, I've got the copy document here, just showing you some of the stuff on here that we've got. Really, the main thing that a lot of these people are experiencing is just inconsistent bookings, and because of the inconsistency in bookings, their income is completely unreliable. There's no predictability to how much money they can make, and all that sort of stuff. So we really wanted to make sure we led with that initially on the waitlist page. The waitlist page itself, we had a video on there which we scripted for Katie so that we could hit all of the pain points and all the key markers for getting people's attention. And then really the waitlist page is a much shorter page than you would have for, say, a sales page. So this is all that you get on here. You can see the screen. We give a little bit about who it's for and what to expect, and the results really that we're looking for them to achieve. Then we want to give some certainty about what's happening next. So you need to tell people that actually you can't buy a ticket yet, even if you want to. All you've got to do for now is join this waitlist. What that does is it has a very low barrier to entry. If you went straight in for a sale, the likelihood of people just going straight there and buying is pretty low, and you don't really know who's necessarily gone there. So in creating this sub list with a small barrier to entry, it allows you to get that list of people that you can then contact in multiple ways and that you can market to more heavily when the time is right. As you can see, we've just put testimonials and stuff on here. So this is the waitlist page. This is just a copy doc. The page itself looks a bit like this with the video at the top, and then going through the programs, going through the copy, and here it is, just join the waitlist. Here's why you need to join the waitlist. We're telling them there's only 20 spaces available, which there is. And they'll be in a chance to snag some exclusive bonuses. And then we've also got some case studies here, some testimonials, which are nice screenshots, which if you can use things like screenshots, it just looks much more authentic than if you just write it out and there's no picture or anything attached. Yes, these don't have a picture, but you can see that they've come through WhatsApp, and they've got comments and likes and all that sort of stuff. So this page is quite a short page. So once you've got that done, then you need to look at actually how are we going to drive the traffic there, and that's when we start to look at the email campaigns. So here I've just pulled up on the document on the laptop here the sequence for running the emails. So as we've mentioned, this campaign in particular, there was no budget for paid advertising, so we had to rely on an already existing audience to market this program to, and so we've gone purely on the email route. We have used some of the email copy and some of the structure that I'll give you to be used in social posts and stuff like that, but that's mainly more for awareness. I haven't got a huge social following, so you could probably count the amount of people that came through just solely socials on your thumbs, to be honest. So here's the sort of structure we've gone for to promote the waitlist. So email 1, we've just gone with reopen and the problem hook. So this is a program that they had previously had a test enrollment to for a very small number of people to see if it works. So we're just talking about that and the fact that, you know, there was only a tiny number of spaces left that got snagged up like that in that one. And then we're really looking at digging into the problem and aligning with that side of things. So that's email 1. Email 2 is we're talking about a reminder of when it's all happening and why they need to take action now. Then email 3, we're just trying to align with the people more and really make them understand that we understand what they're going through. The benefit of having someone like Katie, who's currently running a clinic and is working with a lot of other clinic owners, is she knows exactly what it is, the pains and the frustrations that people are going through, because she's still dealing with that on a day-to-day basis. So that's really powerful stuff to get out, because that empathy, that alignment really helps with the trust and the belief in the reader. And remember that the better you can articulate the problems that someone's experiencing, the more conviction they have in you to be able to solve that problem for them, because you really, really understand them. And so that's really important for you from a copy perspective when you're creating emails, to really understand what your people are going through. Don't assume, don't think that they're just going to be like you. You really need to dig into it and really find out what specific problems have they got, so that we can talk to that and don't stay surface level. Then email 4, we talk about there's going to be a bonus when people enroll in this program, which is a live day, which is, I should have said this earlier, this is a 12-week online course. But this one has a 1-day live element at the end. And so that's going to be an exclusive bonus specifically for this group of people, which has got a value attached to it, because people pay over £500 just for the privilege of going to that event. And then email 5 is we're just talking about a load of social proof, really, people that have gone through these similar things, people that Katie's helped, all that sort of stuff, so that we can just reinforce the fact that we know what we're doing. And then email 6 was just like a final call, right? This is your last chance to get on the wait list. Like, all of these emails are pushing people to join the wait list. Remember, they don't have to do anything other than join the wait list at this stage. We're not asking for them for any money or anything like that. And so the friction there is reasonably small. And so just to summarize, we've got the problem hook, the early nudge, we've got the case studies, we've got the bonus reveal, we've got the testimonials, and then we've got the last chance push. And that's really the campaign that we've created to drive as many people as we possibly can to the waitlist. And I'm not going to go into all the emails here, but you can see as we scroll down, once we've put the structure, then we get to crafting all of the email copy, using images where you can, where they're relevant. And you can see here that we've got a lot of copy, a lot of emails there that are going out, 6 in total. We've got clear on the structure, and then we can get to work in creating those emails and then utilizing them. We typically run this campaign over 2 weeks. So it'll be 2 weeks of going promotion to get people to join the waitlist. And remember, I think I've got it up here on one of them, soft opt-out. So we give people the opportunity to go, yeah, I don't want to hear any more about this, it's not relevant to me, so that they don't unsubscribe from the list. So that is the campaign to drive people to the waitlist page. So now we've done the work in building the email list, the waitlist, sorry, and now what we need to do is we need to actually promote and start marketing to that waitlist. So there's a marketing campaign, if you like, to fill the waitlist. Then there's another marketing campaign to then take that waitlist and drive as many possible sales as we can. And one of the key things to get clear on before you start this process is making sure that you've got a good, compelling offer. Now, the program itself is the program, and what we absolutely need to do is make sure that we've got a compelling enough offer so that people can act now. And I think this is a step that often people miss. They've got a product or a service that they sell, and then they just sell it as is, and people don't really have any reason to act now. So I just wanted to make that point. So if you can leverage any urgency or scarcity in order to help get the sale, then you need to make sure that that's factored into the sales page, and I'll show you how we've done that. So with the sales page itself, it's a similar exercise as we did with the waitlist page, but this one is much more comprehensive. I use the sales page checklist that I've created. I think there's 17 points to it. Won't necessarily use all 17 points, but it gives me a framework that I can make sure I can check as many of the individual elements as I possibly can. So once we've done that bit, we'll, same as we did with the waitlist page, we'll just draft it out. Where is it? So again, we've got video. What we've done here is we've actually used a slightly different headline, because one thing that you want to make sure that you do when you're promoting, when you're doing a wait list and then you're going to an actual sale, what we don't want to have is banner blindness. So what we don't want is any confusion where people go, oh, I've already been to that page, or oh yeah, I've done that already. So we need to make sure there's a distinct difference so that people are clear that this is a separate thing now, so that we can ensure that people don't just assume that it's the same thing and then don't take any action. So you'll see here on this copy document that this is much more comprehensive in terms of length. We go more into really dialing into the understanding of the pains and the frustrations that people are experiencing. We want to make sure that we paint a picture of what things look like in the future pacing it. So when you finish the 12 weeks, here's the kind of things that you can imagine your life is going to be like, with a better, more complete diary, more predictable income, all that sort of stuff. Getting really clear for people how it's going to work. Like, week 1 is all about your plan to succeed. Week 2 to 3 is all about generating a plan for creating profit. And then you've got client wins, cash wins, how to actually do the work, how to then make the sales, upgrading your mindset, all of this sort of stuff. When it comes to actually now getting someone to go from yes, I'm interested to yes, I'm doing it, we need to really make sure that we tick the logic and emotion box. So we need to dial into the emotion so that we align with how they're feeling. And also the logical side of the brain goes, yeah, that all sounds really good, but how does it work? So we need to make sure we check those boxes as well. So you'll see here that we've got into great detail of everything here, and I'm going to just switch over to the page just to show you what that looks like. So we've got the video here. The page does feel different to the original one. If you have a look, it's just it's like slightly differently designed, just so that there is that different kind of feel to it for the reasons that I said before. And then as we go through the page, this was a key thing. A lot of the people that have started them, they're still actually having to do some NHS work to supplement their income. They might be considering jacking it all in because they're struggling, and just go, do you know what, it's easier if I go and get a proper job. But deep down they don't want to do that, and so we really need to align with that side of things. And then we do proper introduction to the Evolve program, what it's all about, what you'll get from the program, giving them absolute clarity on what each week looks like. We don't want it to be too fluffy where it's hard for them to make a tangible picture in their head of what they're going to be working on, because a lot of the time these people don't have the clarity or certainty, and so giving it here allows them to feel that they've got the confidence in order to take the next step. So yeah, this is the page, and it gives you, these are the 4 ways, the 4 things that they're going to get access to as part of it. And then we've got the investment side of things. So this is the offer side of things. So we know from the research that we did, and from what we learned from Katie, that this particular market, they're not affluent. They haven't got hundreds of pounds just to throw away at a whim. And And so we needed to make sure that whilst the price of the program is $975, we needed to make it so that it could be more affordable to get the sales in the first place, and so that we can start to get them some results and get going that way. So the program's $975, and they could pay in 3 easy installments of $325. There's no penalty for paying in installments. You don't have to pay an extra 10 or 20% more because you're paying in installments. Like, this is genuinely we want to help these people, and this is Katie, by the way. We want to help these people, therefore we want to make it easier for them to pay without there being any penalty for not being able to pay up front. Some people have just paid the whole lot, and some people are paying in installments, and we just position it a little bit in terms of the it works out about £11.60 a day for the 12-week course, which, you know, you can position that against other stuff that people are spending money on. I mean, £11.60 a day these days doesn't actually get you that much. Also, it's like we're promoting this now until the end of August. The program doesn't start till September. So what we didn't want is people to go, well, I'm going to pay now, and then I'm going to have 2 payments before I've even started the program. So we made sure that we were clear about the payment schedule. This is all part of the offer architecture, making sure that the pricing is right, the positioning of it's right, how you communicate it is right. And then the final part of the offer architecture is really the bonuses. So when you sign up today, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get this planning day and the Thrive party, which is worth $596. Genuinely, the people are paying that. Another bonus to get seen on Google fast. Another bonus, the ultimate referral pack. So all these things make the offer more weighty. I'm not going to delve into the full offer psychology and all that side of things. That is a 90-minute presentation at least by itself. Maybe I'll do that another time. Then you just want to give a clarity. Here's what's going to happen when you join, and then just giving them the certainty again, and then painting that picture. Here's what a diary could look like. Your diary could look like now, and this is, in our experience, what earnings of around $1,200 to $2,000 a month looks like. And then when you're up to like 3 or 4, here's what that diary will look like. So, you know, it's really just painting that picture again. And then there's a bit of a credibility piece about Katie. Now, remember, these are mostly warm people on the database. So a lot of people already know who Katie is. And then testimonials, case studies, all that sort of good stuff. The final thing to mention on this page is the FAQs. FAQs are not, as you might think, questions that people might ask, like, what time did the session start, or what happens if I skip a session? You might add those bits in, but really what these are handling objections. So how do I know it worked for me? I'm just getting started. Is this for me? This is a lot of money for me. How do I know it's worth the risk? So these are all objections people might have to buying that you need to handle in your FAQ section. So that's a real top tip there for when you have got these on your site. So that's the sales page. And then the final job, really, once you've got that sales page, is then just promoting it to your audience. So then you've got the sales and launch sequence, which this is the email campaign. I'm not going to go through all of these now, but essentially I'll give you the summary of the email campaign as I did with the other one. So email 1 is prep and launch. So it's like before it goes live, you go, by the way, you're on the wait list. Here's what's going to happen. At this time on this day, you're going to get an email, and that's when you can go and buy. So you need to tell people exactly when to expect something and what to do. And then as being on the wait list, you actually got priority access to it. So 48 hours before general sale. So it gives you a little bit of power in being able to use some urgency for that wait list, so you can push them through and go, look, you've only got 24 hours left now before it goes on general sale. Go get your ticket. So we've got that. We've got the last day of the waitlist access, and then the public launch. And then there's public launch email, there's objection busting, Q&A, and then final nudge. And this is all driving people in. And so that's what we've done. That's the campaign that we're in the middle of. Like I said, this goes on till the end of August. The target's 20. We are on the 31st of July today. The target's 20. So far we're sat on 11 sales. We've got in the work that we drove people through to the wait list. Yes, some people have acted fast, and some people do, and then other people take a bit longer in order to come to a decision. But we've got this is what the campaign looks like up until now. We're going to continue to market as much as we can, and then on a specific date in August we are going to just be shutting the car and it's going to be closed. The reason that we've done it when we've done it is because we're aware that a lot of the people on that are going to be right for this program have young families and stuff like that, and it's the school holidays, so we wanted to make sure we got the promo in ahead of time so that we could leverage that. So we got a list of 4,500, which then was actually 1,350 when you take into account the opens, which then actually shrunk a lot more when you thought about the audience that we needed to promote to. Then we got around 40 odd people onto the wait list itself. And then from that, we've so far made 11 sales of the 20. And so everything's going to plan at the moment. And we'll continue to push it and drive more sales and hit the target of 20 before the program goes live, I think at the beginning in the first couple of weeks of September. So hopefully you found that useful. Feel free to fire us some questions and email us in if you've got anything you'd like to know. But yeah, hopefully you've been able to see what a launch sequence could look like that isn't multiple millions of pounds with hundreds of thousands of pounds of ad spend and all this sort of stuff, and give you a bit of certainty around how you could maybe approach a launch of a product or service that you've got going on. So hope you found that useful, and speak to you soon.